Morning, everyone. Sorry for the lateness. Was finally able to get something to drink last night. For me, it helps kind of slow things down a little bit. A lot of times I deal with a lot of voices kind of hitting me at one time. Like I said, I don't get these audible messages from anybody. But there is a lot of, I guess, spiritual plausible deniability that goes on. We all play a rigged game in one form or another, but it's up to us to just make the best of it. Whenever you get frustrated, you have to think about what the previous generation had to deal with. It looks like a freaking... Okay, what do I got here? Good. I wanted to take some time and use a few minutes to talk about spiritual warfare. Over the last 30 years, it's been kind of turned into a very comical discussion for people that have no spiritual literacy, but at the same time they want to support light-skinned, curly-haired women being witches. Gained popularity with Harry Potter and all that stuff. Hey, Sway, thank you for this, by the way. You had the answers once again, to a smaller degree. I was telling you before, I bounce around a lot, not because of my orchestration of anything that I'm saying. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of powering through in spite of some emotional fatigue. But what you tell yourself is what your body will respond to. Okay? So there's no crime in being fatigued. That's the body's natural response, and that means you either need to hydrate, you need to nourish yourself with some type of nutrient, you need to know whether it's protein that you need. Sometimes if your blood sugar drops too low, healthy protein like chicken or red beef or red meat of some kind will help level that out, and I've noticed that helps me quite a bit. I don't have an aversion to pork products. They're not my first choice, okay? Because when you start to get real strict with those things, we don't know how much sabotage is in all the products around us, okay? So if you look at me, I have kind of a diluted racial appearance based on, compared to my other relatives. And I was never given the true context of why that is. It's kind of a lie by omission. I don't think it's a good thing to do to a child, especially if you're never going to be satisfied with their work output. But the Jews do it to you. Look at how they control the politicians that represent you. Look at how they control the teachers that teach you your curriculum. Look at how they control Willow Creek here, and Calvary in Naperville. A.W. Tozer was heralded as Chicago's greatest minister. Wow. The South and West Sides were languishing in pain. Not a word ever said. But the moment teenage frustration went downtown, white women were so violently righteous in their outrage, telling the news how much property taxes they paid to avoid such. I'm tired of trying to impress you people. You don't deserve it. Put me in the projects. I'd pick that over your suburbs any day. When I was much younger, like I was saying before, I would have dreams where certain demonic type of representatives would visit me. Once when I was a little child, in the form of a crocodile, and my victory line at that time when I was 3 years old, because of what my parents kind of injected into me, was I'm a little boy of Jesus. And then the crocodile was walking up the steps to our home, where we were living at the time, and then once I said that, it turned around and walked away. So I considered that a spiritual victory for quite a long time. But then I was like maybe in my later teens, again in Minnesota. And some more severe oppression came when I was asleep once. And then I said in the name of Jesus, and nothing happened. If I remember correctly, the demon looked at me and smiled. I filed that away until I could understand it. I'm afraid we've been lied to, children. I think the Jesus that we've been taught is a fraud. It makes me sad to say that. I used to only think that because of the difference between white and black interactions with me. White people would be the most insistent that their character and their faith were intertwined. But there would be such a gap, such a discrepancy between the way they treated people and the way they preached. So analytical and precise in all their doctrinal arguments, but such despicable human beings when you interact with them in person. Demanding your servitude before they even acknowledge your presence. You know how many times as a child I was asked to play in someone's front yard like a dog? How many doors were closed to us? Do I really look that black? That's what taught me about women. White people. No matter how much you do for them, no matter how close you get to their ideal, they will still spit on you and disrespect you. Had it not been for the Lord on my side, I wanted to really get that Jesus point across. So you're probably concerned now. Like, what do I say if I go through demonic oppression? How did Jesus instruct us to pray? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. No reference to Jesus there. Okay? So you don't have to have the white boy on your wall anymore if you don't want. You can have it as artwork, just like your Mona Lisa or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with eating spaghetti. I don't make mine with period blood. Boys, they don't make women like they used to, unfortunately. Even if she is cisgender these days, the heart is desperately wicked. It always saddened me when black women would say, I want a man that treats me like my father, because that only means that her father was just a simp, buying her affection with material gifts. It is men that are supposed to go out and sin in the days of their youth and make those mistakes and backslide, and then, in their hour of desperation, in the slop of the pigs, turn their eyes toward the King of Kings, their own Father, and ask for mercy. And in that mercy that was extended to them, then they turn around, and they should raise their families with the foundation of grace and mercy. Isn't that what the man who was forgiven a great debt by the king should have done? But what did he do? When he was forgiven $10,000, he found someone who owed him $100 and then had him thrown in jail until that $100 was paid. We're all susceptible to that reaction. When a woman in middle school rejects us, it turns our heart cold towards everyone. It impacts our relationships, our sex life, our business dealings, our family life, our interaction with our children. Is that what our Father intended for us? I told you Texas Movement Performance was based on a concept called Tensegrity. I've written about it on my LinkedIn. You're welcome to go and read it there. My name is Alexander Mathai, Mathai. You can search Texas Movement International and you'll find it. I wanted to buy a tensegrity structure so that you'd have a visual for it. What is it called? It's called a. Just give me a second. I'm looking it up. Address. Of course, I can't find it when I need it. There's a structure. It's like a toy that can expand in and out. And it's not like a basketball, but it has like a spherical kind of shape. If you'll be patient with me, I can look it up for you. Just give me a moment. it's a good principle. I mean, it's worth researching. You know, I Nipsey Hussle talked a lot about Dr. Sebi. Um, Tensegrity sphere. Oh, geodesic dome. It's called a geodesic dome. Sorry it took so long. All these white words you have to learn to survive in this hellhole. But I'm 37 years old, and I feel like I look pretty good. And I feel pretty good despite the emotional battles that I have to go through every day. But what allows me to recover from said discomfort is the my focus on internal and external, like tensegrity. So, people make fun of me all the time because I use the bathroom regularly. Some of that is stress, okay? And then caffeine is a diuretic, so that's going to push things through a little bit faster. So if you don't have someplace private, it's probably good to every once in a while go on like a 72-hour caffeine fast. It will give your adrenal glands kind of a rest. Fasting in general is good to let the body and this internal systems that keep you going take a break, because eating is like overtraining sometimes, especially in America. None of us are farmers like we used to be. A lot of us just go and sit at a desk all day at work, and we just absorb content now. So then we keep eating and eating and eating. And first of all, if we develop, poor postural habits, what's going to happen? The body is just going to expand within that current structure, right? So if you're not doing things to regularly open your posture, including the cervical spine here, you see that? You're going to, develop that Hunchback of Notre Dame type of position. Lifting is good. You need a base of, muscular strength. Hitting 225 on the bench was a big deal for me. I wish it had happened a lot earlier. That's kind of the NFL Combine standard. Most running backs in the NFL can do it probably about 15 to 20 times. Pull-ups you should be able to do 10 in a row. I think if you can get a mile in under 8 minutes, that's good enough. If you're in the suburbs, I'd prefer if you could get under 11 seconds in the 100, but if you get under 12, you can move on to something you like. Vertical jump really just depends on what it is you want to do. If you're not playing basketball, dunking 10 feet is an arbitrary height. And the taller you get, the higher your standing height is. So I don't think you need to make that something that impacts your self-esteem. But one thing you shouldn't do is take your frustration about those missing attributes and put it into your income. If you're going to overcompensate in the most quintessential way into the density of your Bifrost with your creator. That is the best possible return on investment. When you put your faith in income, you make Jews your God, which is what they want. It's fool's gold. It is a wonderful feeling to have a beautiful woman lay on your chest. But if she does not share the same loyalty that you do, that is fool's gold. And you must give that 100 talents back. No one told you to invest your money there. That was a decision you made. And you have to be accountable for that. It was a failure. Nipsey Hussle talked about Dr. Sebi. I'm not quite sure who is the foremost expert currently on holistic healing through nutrition, but I do believe the study of tensegrity via movement, which I have done my best to base Texas Movement Performance on, and holistic nutrition, I believe those two should be married. Dr. Sebi talks about mucus being the primary culprit when it comes to all disease. And I can understand the concept of that. When we have, my mother died of a heart attack, coronary blockage in the left aorta was what they said. And if you think about that, if the blood goes into the heart, it's the aorta and ventricles or something like that. One goes in, one goes out. I'm not an expert, okay, on that stuff. But if there is a blockage, what they have to do is they have to put a stent in there, and the stent is like a balloon, and it has to like expand, and that allows a little bit more room for blood to flow. Sometimes that can happen, Dr. Sebi says, sometimes that happens with all of our other systems with regards to mucus, right? So if you've ever had phlegm in this region, like this region here, and you clear your throat and you spit, you get that mucus out of your body, right? Mucus is a natural response to foreign agents acting in our internal chemistry, okay? And so that when we eat meat, a lot of times people will turn vegetarian or pescatarian or vegan because they want to minimize the mucus, right? What I have discovered in myself, and it's partially because of the weight and mass that I carry for the work that I want to do. Running backs and all the best will tell you, you have to have a little bit of size on you to absorb damage, absorb collisions. You can't be, a Victoria's Secret model or a Tom Ford. I'm a Tom Ford fan, by the way. I like his kind of classic style. I don't have a problem with his personal lifestyle or anything. Certain things like the exposed ankles and the kind of slipper shoe trends with the tuxedos and stuff. That's not exactly my cup of tea. I prefer like a more classic fit on suits where there's a little bit better drape, which is why I follow Ask Oki. I think he's on the other extreme of kind of classical tailoring. So if you look at kind of how I dress with Hero, you see kind of a blend of those two philosophies. So thank you, Tom Ford. I appreciate all the work you've done. And I have a certain level of androgyny in me as well. And that's kind of what I wanted to do also. I wanted to show that it's okay to appreciate the value that uh, our our sisters do inform us quite a bit. I've learned a lot about sprinting from black women because they can't falsify their movement with testosterone. I mean, obviously, a lot of them are on drugs. I'm not saying they're not, but if you look at their upper body versus a man can really rip through the air to coordinate with the lower limbs far more than a woman could, simply because of the structure of the shoulder joints and the muscle density around that area. And we can do a lot more with Olympic lifting in the second pull and the catch, because we can kind of mask the lack of our hip extension with that extra, lat strength and deltoid, blah blah blah, all that technical stuff. Go talk to Stuart McMillan. Mucus is a problem, right? But mucus is one problem. Okay, so sometimes, like when I first moved to Dallas, they were rebuilding 635. Now 635 is a big multi-lane highway. But when I got there, there were many lane closures because of construction. And so the traffic was awful. All right. So sometimes, my commute would be shorter because I'd go at a later time of the day and there would be less traffic, and so then flow would be great. But in rush hour, obviously a big problem. So you avoid rush hour, right? But then they expanded the lanes, and then rush hour became a little bit more pleasant, right? So body kind of works the same way. Yes, you got to clear the body of mucus. You definitely have to detox the large intestine, the colon, all that. We do have a lot of junk sitting in there a lot of times. Unclaimed property, right? And so you have to do your ivermectin detoxes. You have to do your green juices. You have to do your probiotics. You need to research these things. And I always, always, always wanted Texas Movement Performance to have an element of these things in it. Okay, and so all those are necessary things. We need good bacteria, the kind that's in like yogurt and stuff. I'm not a big yogurt guy, but we need that in order for our system to move on healthy. Oof, we're going on a tangent. But tensegrity and nutrition work hand in hand. Okay, we'll flesh this out a little bit over time. Okay, we've got time. Yeah, maybe that's good for now. Look, I don't know how much time I have left with the children. I feel pleased that I've made some progress for my brothers. I always knew that I wasn't quite with them, but I could do something for them to make up for my negligible ancestry. I never wanted to be a burden to anybody. I'm asking the Lord whether He wants me to fly closer to the sun or sow my seed more horizontally. I don't know the answer yet. But as I said before, I'm going to protect you from white Jesus going forward. If you're ever scared, start with the Lord's Prayer. And if there's any spiritual liquidity you need, borrow it from me, okay? You don't ever have to ask, just take it. It's funny, we have to both trust our feelings and never trust our feelings at the same time. So I would say experience your feelings and then judge them objectively. You know what objective means? It means without any other external influence. You can always find a quiet room to sort all those things out. Okay, the Lord will help you with that. And if you notice people starting to distract you, or the algorithm starting to point confusion in your direction at that point, that is by design, okay? The enemy will always start an argument in the car going to church, because that's when you are able to be with your community, where you can share in the common desire to be loyal to our Father in heaven. Okay? So, if the Lord allows, we will see each other again. Until that time, be good to each other and hit the Cash App. Just kidding. I love you.